Donald Trump seems to be setting up quite the conflict of interest as he enters into another campaign running for the White House. Now, I hope we will continue forward with the strong hope and investment in the idea that he will not become president again. But if he is to become president once again, this will definitely pose a conflict of interest along with many other ones that are present. And I will do a bullhorn, not a bullhorn. I'll call out to all the right wingers. Hello, listen up. If you're one of these people who spends day and night and you have posters of Hunter Biden on your wall with little strings and the little, thumbtacks and a bulletin board with just Hunter Biden all over it, and your mind is consumed with Hunter Biden. What's the center concern you have about Hunter Biden? A possible conflict of interest with Joe Biden. Now, we talked about this. I won't relitigate, but there is some stuff that's not great with Hunter Biden trying to use his name to get jobs that maybe he doesn't deserve. The connection between him and any actions that were influenced on Joe Biden's part just hasn't been made by anybody on the right, and that's where the dishonesty comes in. Here, you don't even have to do that jump. It's just Trump himself. It's just him. This would be like Joe Biden having huge conflicts of interest. Okay, take a look from the New York Times. When former President Donald J. Trump returned briefly last week to his office at Trump Tower in New York, he was joined by his son, Eric Trump, and the top executive of a Saudi Arabian real estate company to sign a deal that creates new conflict of interest questions for his just launched presidential campaign. The deal is with a Saudi real estate company, which intends to build a Trump-branded hotel, villas, and a golf course as part of a $4 billion real estate project in the country of Oman. The agreement continues a practice that had been popular for the Trump family business until Mr. Trump was elected president, selling branding rights to an overseas project in exchange for a generous licensing fee. But what makes this project unusual and is sure to intensify the questions over this newest transaction is that by teaming up with a Saudi company, Mr. Trump is also becoming part of a project backed by the government of Oman itself. The deal leaves Mr. Trump as a former president hoping to win the White House again, effectively with a foreign government partner that has complex relations with the United States, including its role in trying to end the war in Yemen and other important foreign policy agenda items for Washington. The deal Mr. Trump signed was with that individual, the Saudi-based real estate company, or with that company, I should say, that is leading the project in collaboration with the government of Oman, which owns the land. It is the second deal signed recently between Mr. Trump and his family that has direct financial ties to a Middle East government, and it highlights the golf tournament Trump hosted. We'll throw this full article down in the description on YouTube if you're watching and want to read the rest of it. But again, what's interesting about this isn't the biggest scandal in American history, but it's a representation of the deep and far-reaching business interests Trump has in relation to other foreign governments that could affect his ability to be president in an unbiased manner. And one of the things that you can compare this to is Jimmy Carter, when he was president, had to sell his peanut farm, or at least chose to, was pressured to, for whatever reason, sold his peanut farm because there didn't need to be any appearance of any way that a government could funnel money to him, could get in his good graces by buying a bunch of peanuts or something. And so he sold it, so there was no conflict of interest there. Trump is far from selling the Trump organization and is very far from even stepping away from getting involved directly in business dealings and interests abroad with foreign countries that could definitely cloud his judgment. We just reported as well on the $700,000 that were spent at Trump properties while Trump was president by foreign governments to stay there, we'll say.
Wow.
But of course, you're going to recognize that if you own those companies. You're going to be happy that those properties are being helped, and it could influence you. Again, I'm not alleging any particular direct corruption, except for that happened, and we understand by the nature of money and greed that that does affect the way that you're able to make decisions as someone who has to then go on to make decisions that would affect significantly those same exact foreign countries. But But again, largely, this is also a hypocrisy story. Why is it that conflict of interest is so important in a bizarrely constructed and very loosely tied together narrative about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, but not at all when it comes to a much more blatant and evidence-backed example with Donald Trump? Answer that for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.